When did you realize that you hit the sweet spot, that like creating content together, you were like, oh, we're good at this?
I was going to say, when somebody offered to pay us $75 to sell some chicken nuggets on our page, I was like, now wait a minute, it's gold in the
we can make money doing this was crazy to me. I didn't know that $75 wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah, we didn't know that at the time.
That's a lot of nuggets, though. $75, that's like 40 or 50 nuggets,
especially
to be
in the
fair.
States. Yeah, it's not going to get you far in Canada.
No,
but
that's
absolutely.
a lot of nuggets. Welcome to Playing House, the podcast about keeping your relationship sexy and secure. I am the General of Clean Girl Army,
Again,
Kolter Bouchard.
Why are you laughing before you deliver
I just think it's funny.
You and only you.
The clean girl aesthetic, they've assembled, they've elected me, general. I don't think you're elected.
Why are you general of this army of women?
That's smarter than men, right? So that's why we want an all-woman army. Anyway.
And I'm Dominique Bouchard. We are a real couple having real conversations, inviting you in as our third for the first episode of season 3.
You should have said,
oh, Lord,
we're keeping it all in. Inviting you in to be our third season opener. What?
Oh, that's cute, actually.
Thank you.
That's cute. Damn it.
Remember the original days? If I'm feeling lazy, I'm not going to do any of this. But if
He's not going to do it. I don't even know what it is.
Now I have to do it.
He's not going to do it.
And now it would be even funnier, me doubling down if I didn't do it. I'll decide what I want to do.
He's not going to do it.
Now I have to. Now I don't have
What
to.
is it?
The original episodes. They look like trash.
You said that as you were recording it. There's a random Ethernet cable behind my head.
Just garbage. Not everything's lit terribly.
The content is also awful. We had no plan. We just said, we're gonna talk into some microphones.
I would actually say that was when it peaked.
Episode 1 is when we peaked.
Yeah.
Would you subscribe to this?
Absolutely. Am I subscribed?
Good intro. Great intro. Please read the.
On today's episode, creating content with your partner, we're being joined by the plant songstress and fellow Vanilla King, Amber Beyn Wallin, and diving into the fine lines between business partners, lovers, and friends. I wanted lovers to sound different.
I see that.
Okay.
Tell me again. You know the song?
No.
Oh. That will be lovers and friends. Oh, okay.
Even listening to my dance moves. I can't even see them, but they're assaulting my ears.
Yes.
Shall we do this? Season 3 opener. This is massive.
I'm so excited. When my sister introduced me to Ben and Amber, she was the one who sent me their content in the first place. She sent me a video of Amber's where she was yelling at Ben and saying must you colonize everything? And I said, you know what? Yes, we're clearly related. I can follow you. This is quality content.
Many people are saying they're coming to me, tears in their eyes, and they're saying, sir, you're the Amber of this relationship.
Who are these people?
Many people.
Name one.
Big, strong generals. They're coming to me. They're saying this. They're saying, sir, please.
We're back to the generals.
Yeah.
Are these the same ones?
No, I'm the general of that. Okay. They're saying maybe they're fellow generals. I mean, they are fellow generals.
Let's go to
Give me a compliment. I thought you were going to be like, this is exciting. Season 3, the growth that we've experienced together.
Why would I give you the compliment? It's our growth. It's our progress.
I mean, I built the goddamn set.
You did a beautiful
I bought
job.
this TV off Marketplace. Almost got stabbed.
How did you almost get stabbed? By the antennas?
Anyway, I built the set.
Let's go to the interview, please. When did you realize that you hit the sweet spot, that creating content together, you were like, oh, we're good at this?
I was going to say, when somebody offered to pay us $75 to sell some chicken nuggets on our page, I was like, now wait a minute, it's gold in the
we can make money doing this was crazy to me. I didn't know that $75 wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah, we didn't know that at the time.
That's a lot of nuggets, though. $75, that's like 40 or 50 nuggets,
especially
to be
in the
fair.
States. Yeah, it's not going to get you far in Canada.
No,
but
that's
absolutely.
a lot of nuggets.
Well, and then they gave us the nuggets for free. So it was free nuggets. This was probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They gave us nuggets and they paid us day of to just, push nuggets on my Instagram story.
Or you did a makeup thing where they gave you like $75, and that video that Amber made was really funny. We put a lot of thought into it, and it got like 750,000 views.
Yeah.
And now like brands would pay like many figures for that kind of like engagement, right. And I'm just like, what were we thinking? But when you're like, I was a teacher at this time, and I was so miserable at my job and terrible at it that the idea of like getting any other money.
Ben's getting bad report cards from the parents, and they're like,
can we talk about that?
N for needs improvement. It's not going well.
Yeah, I mean, like when it was just like that first check, and then I hate to be a capitalist, but sometimes like when you're creative and you get paid for doing that first comedy set, or you get paid for hosting that first show, you're like, oh, I can get paid to put on a wig and live in my imagination, live in my sandbox. So as that continued, I was like, Ben, I actually think we can do this for real. I think the biggest unlock though, when we had Wild, we decided we were going to save up enough money for a year for Ben to stay at home with me. We were like, let's save up for 1 year. And if we cannot make enough money to sustain like our family for that year, you can go back to work. And then he just never went back. I think that was the major like, oh, like you actually don't have to go back to work. We're kind of doing okay, because when he was at home, I taught him how to edit, and like I got to sort of double myself, you know, as best I can.
I was gonna say, you look identical. Are you twins? You know?
People ask us all the time, like, y'all look just alike. Like, what's it like dating your twin? Yeah. So when we were able to do that and stay home with the baby, I think that was when we were like, now wait a minute.
Yeah, this could happen. Wait, so y'all do this full time now, right?
Now, as of this year, so as of March for Kolter, and as of May for me.
Yeah, I worked in radio for 10 years, and so we worked in Dubai for a couple of years, and then when we, you know, Dominique is from Toronto, I'm from just outside, and after Dubai, we've been back in Toronto for about 6 or 7 years now, and so it was really cool. It was kind of a weird moment because like I had wanted radio forever, right? Like it was a dream. It was just a dream for me, and I was able to do it like worldwide, and it was a lot of fun. But same as you, Ben, like, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say that every day was like misery, but I think enough things add up where you're like, this isn't my best self. I'm not doing what I want anymore. And then this felt like, a lot of people have called it a career shift. It feels like an evolution in a sense, because it's a lot of the same principles, right? It's entertaining. It's, you know, but for the last 6 months, yeah. And we also own a full service marketing agency. We were able to launch that at the same time. Yeah. So like, half of our revenue comes from endorsements.
I'm such an idiot. What's full service marketing?
Please.
He put you on the
No, ma'am.
Well, no, because I know, Dom, you did something like Amber was telling me that you were in marketing and stuff, but I don't know what a full service. That sounds like a lot.
That's where you get a happy ending. We actually start with the happy ending. That's what makes us different. We start with the happy ending.
Yeah, but full service is from, you know, ideation. So we do strategy. We do production, so videography. We do editing.
Yeah, big up your man. What's your man producing?
We met it in broadcasting school, so like this is what our degree is in. Yeah, and then
I've seen those like early pictures of y'all. Y'all just look so cute and nerdy.
Still have the debt, by the way.
You look pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Dom, you look great.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. It's okay. Yeah.
So for instance,
we'll get to your blow up, girl.
Were you talking about Ben's glow up? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still glowing.
It is. I booked you a haircut for tomorrow. Let's go.
So full service, for instance, like Dominique said, we come up with the strategy. We come up with this part of it, and then I got to shoot. One of our clients is based in Alaska, so I got to shoot a documentary for them, like a corporate documentary for them. I was there for 2 weeks, like June, July. That was a ton of fun. And then some of the other projects we're working on. So I had cancer a couple of years ago. And I've really been able to like milk a lot of money out of cancer. I'm not saying like start smoking or anything, but if it happens, you know, you monetize, right? So like a lot of our clients are based in the healthcare sector. And so I do a lot of public speaking for like cancer groups and cancer advocacy. And then one really cool project we're working on it's with the hospital foundation that like funded the hospital where I got a lot of my treatment. And so it's a 10-episode video podcast. And so I'm hosting it. Our company's producing the entire thing. We got to do an episode recently in the chemo suite. We did an interview in the chemo suite where I got treatment. And like to do that kind of work is really like, it's cool. It was also like very sad, right? I'm just like, oh God, why am I crying all of a sudden?
But I feel like you would be the perfect person to do this. Like you would
to get cancer. Thanks a lot. Well, this has been fun.
Ben's like, yeah, you got that cancer vibe. No, cancer checks be cashing too, Kolter. That's awesome. Because
people need that. Like they need that.
I was milking it on week 4 of pregnancy. I was like, I can't carry anything.
Did you just compare?
So I can only imagine. I can only imagine how you should be milking this for the rest of your life.
No, I think you're calling your daughter a tumor, if I'm following properly. That's mean. Don't do that.
Myself in a room full of people. It's kind of, I'm sure you have stories, you know?
So we talk about being in business together. So like you all create content together. So you're business partners at the end of the day, but you're also married. You're also parents. So there's a fine line between all this. I'm wondering, how do you approach it all?
Me with a lot of humility, Amber with a lot of pride. So much pride.
You need a certain level of delusion to do this.
Yeah,
100%. Absolutely.
All right, so you're talking about like just wearing all the different hats, right? It's like it's just setting time apart of like we're just gonna focus on creating content now. We're just gonna go focus on doing like, you know, marriage stuff now. We're just gonna focus on doing parenting stuff now. And sort of like I think putting times has been like a really helpful, like Amber using like a Google Calendar. And just like having those like sacred moments is really important. But the cool thing about being creators is that every time we do like husband, wife, or family things, we're like, okay, we're just going to record this and then maybe edit it later.
Right.
And so you can sort of actually, like, you're not really wearing different hats. You're just like doing everything at the same time. It's been really cool. So we get to write off our life. Like literally, like we'll shop at Nordstrom. And whatever we buy at Nordstrom, we film, and they're like, we write this off. Like, and we had a CPA.
No, we were saying take notes. Like, we're like, right?
Write that down.
Write this down. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know how they do in Canada. Can you write off everything? I feel like y'all are a little bit more.
I don't know. We have a bookkeeper, and he's keeping us. He's like, it's a fine line between keeping us out of jail and also keeping us in a house, right? So. It's a razor's edge, but we're trying our best.
Margaritas were for content.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, we filmed every single one of them. That's
a major, I will say, as far as sort of the work-life balance, because we have found a way to monetize our lives and monetize our marriage and monetize our family, or at least create content out of that. One big aha for me this year, and we have been creating content together for at least 7 years. Well, I've always been shooting it and blogging it, and I think Ben, like, you know, eventually finally got on board. But I'm definitely in a place where I'm getting to the point where there's like an Amber umbrella, and then there's like family, and then motherhood, and then relationship, and then all my comedy stuff. So it's like Ben knows if I ever reach a point where Wild's like, I never want to be filmed again, like 100%.
No, you find a new kid, right? You find someone who wants to work. Yeah.
Right. Well, I can still like do, you know, record everything that I have going on, but having a camera, not just specifically this one, but just having a camera recently to film everything when we go out has been super helpful.
Because you're not trying
versus
to edit.
The phone. Yes. Because when you make something and you're excited about it, that creative momentum is like, I don't want to even finish eating dinner. Like I just thought of something right now, and I'm like, nope, I have it all, and when I get home, I can film it, or when I wake up in the morning, I can film it. And sometimes I film things, and then something has happened, you know, in the world politically or something. And you're like, you know what? I'm actually so glad that I paused and took a beat, because this wouldn't feel, you know, tonally like the right response, or this would feel like I don't have any clue what's going on in the world if I drop this right now. So I would recommend to all like singular creators and family creators, like just record it on a device, because like on the phone is where you stop being present.
It's chaos on the phone. I'm curious though, because I'm sure the number's incredibly large. How many gigabytes of footage do you have that you're like, we're totally going to edit this, and then it just sits on a goddamn hard drive forever? And you're like, don't delete it. We'll do something with it one day. And it's like 5 years later and you can't use stale footage, right?
Honestly, I think for the most part, we use something like everything that we record.
Damn.
Yes.
Like, I think I'm not exaggerating.
We got a couple scraps.
Because Amber will just like the cool thing is we just post everything on Instagram. Like everything just is like, we just want to share as much of our lives as possible so we can get as much money as possible.
100%. Oh my God, yes.
And I think like at this point, because this industry of being like a content creator is so fickle and it's so like it's so saturated in many ways, the more things you can put out there to see what sticks can be very helpful on like all your platforms as well. Like Facebook, we have like Facebook, YouTube. Facebook is like where all the girlies are at now, and like all these so just like posting everything.
Yeah,
probably not everything though.
No, there have been times, or especially now when it comes to my comedy, I've really been like nerding out and practicing my craft when it comes to stand-up. So I have started a like folder of mine that has like the full comedy sets, because I do know one day, like you know how you'll write a joke and you're like, once I've done this joke on stage 20 times, I would love to see like the evolution of that joke, and maybe I can use a couple of those pieces. Or it's like, you know, starting a workout journey and then saying like, I might not post today's workout, but maybe in 3 years, I'll post like 1 second clips of all of these. So in that way, I feel like nothing is wasted. Like everything's kind of recycled. Do you ever make something you're like, I'm over it. Like it's not funny to me anymore. That happens to me every now and then.
Yeah, but that's where I come in and be like, no, this is still funny. You just are over the joke.
Yeah, well, that becomes like a writer's room for us. I'm like, well, is there a way we can make it more funny? Like a sound change or a break here? Because I'm not like, I'm bored of myself right now in this video. And so...
Yeah.
So typically there's something we can do to it to make it slightly better, like a different intro.
And I never get bored of you, so I can always like rewatch videos of you that you're bored of. I'm like, no, this is still funny. You just like, you know, because you sort of sometimes
I get bored of myself.
You're like, oh God, I can't, you know.
This man wants to get laid today.
So bad.
He's like, please, just what is the open sesame? What is the password today? Come on.
Yeah, like, do you ever feel like that, Kolter? You're like, I'm over this joke. Like, I did it, now it's done.
Oh my God, no, couldn't be me.
No.
I get what you're saying though. Like sometimes you get a little too lost in the sauce, right? And whether it's like comedy or whether it's like something else you're working on, a piece of writing you're doing, and like you've seen it day in, and like even editing this documentary, like it was like 40 days in a row, and I'm like, I need a week off, because you're just looking at the same thing over and over again, and it like loses meaning. You almost become blind to part of it, or you go, I hate it, and then you know, you look at it later and you're like, oh, there's actually like, I've fallen in love with this again. I just needed to like, we needed a trial separation from the material in order to like find out we actually love them again.
I'm such a nerd, so I go to spend a lot of time with authors, and they're always like, oh, like I don't want to talk about my new book. All I want to talk about is the book I'm writing now. That's what they want to talk about. But they're forced to talk about the book that they just finished. And Victor Manubo, who's like this great author, and he like wrote, he's a newer author, and he took about like 5 years to get this book published. It gets published, and now he has to spend a year talking about it. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh my God. And then that, I guess that's just sort of the process of creating.
And now I've been using this one app to repost things other places, because, for example, like if I made a super viral video 4 years ago, they didn't have Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that years ago. And so now that those are like monetizing or more popping, then you kind of got to like backlog all of that content that you've been making the last 4 years. And so it's so funny. I'll watch a video from, top of the pandemic, and I'm like, this is hilarious. Like I was like, oh, I forgot how funny this was. But like in the moment, if I'm looking at it time and time again, I can't do it. But I was sometimes in another room, like hear Ben binging the videos, and I'm like,
yeah,
what y'all falling away? The real thing is here.
I'm watching my favorite creator.
That's his thing. He's like, I'm watching my favorite creator. I was like,
this man gets it in. I know it. I know this guy gets it in.
Like, your favorite creator wants to create another baby. Get on your phone.
Couldn't be me. I'm sterile, thankfully now, but like, couldn't be me. How do you like manage all that stuff? Like, you talk about the Repost app, or a Repost app. It's like, it's a lot to manage, and we've been really fortunate that both sides of our business feed into each other. And I mean, when there's maybe when it's like Q2, Q3, and on the endorsement side, it's like, oh, everyone's on vacation in the marketing world right now. the production side of it. Everybody's filming, right? Everybody wants corporations, they got some marketing dollars to spend then, and it's a little bit slower in the winter, spring, especially in the frozen tundra in which we reside. And we've been really fortunate that we've been able to like grow out a team. It's just, it feels like unending. It feels like this Sisyphean task of just trying to get it. You're never going to get it all done is what it feels like to me. Like, how do you manage that?
It makes me think of there's a really fun movie called Fanboys. I don't know if you ever hear it.
I was thinking about it the other day, like 2008 or so, and it took forever to come out.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Deals with someone with cancer, so you definitely.
Ooh, fun! Thanks.
So you'll like it.
What's that like?
So you might like it.
That's why your parents are like, we met a black person the other day, Amber. Maybe you know them. I'm like, you met a black person in Long Island, and maybe I know them. Okay.
I just, culture is, I feel like I've watched enough of your stuff that I have a parasocial relationship with
Thank you. I'm honestly honored by that. When you finally mail me a lock of your hair, the relationship will be complete. It will be fully parasocial, but
I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow. So that is actually,
I would love some of the clippings, please. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Seriously. So I was listening to the director of this, who made this movie. He's in like a really famous like roll top table game in in LA. His godmother, Taylor Swift is the godmother of his child.
Damn.
So like he's right. So very famous. I was listening to this interview. He's like, in this city, you're never making it. Like you never made it, right? There's just always something else, another project, because you're one film after like the studio gets a cut of it, after you get a cut of it, and with LA, like mortgages and just even like making sure that your team gets paid equitably, you constantly just have to go. So for us, it's like I'm just working on getting Amber to like go live the life of like Henry David Thoreau at some point, just build a cabin in the woods. So there's no like, in my mind,
what if I want to be here?
There's no like finishing it. You know what I mean? Like, I've just accepted that you're never going to finish it. You're actually never going to make it in Hollywood. Just accept that. You might make something in Hollywood, but you're never going to make it, Like, even, like, Taylor Swift, we watched that documentary. Like, she's like, I always have to reintroduce myself. So if even Taylor Swift has to feel the need to keep making it, we're so fucked, right? Like, there's no idea. And I think just having that, like, acceptance, that humble acceptance allows us to be like, all right, we're going to keep on doing this thing. But if it fails, oh, well. Like, we can always go to, build a cabin in Maine. Like, I worked on wood floors. I have some carpentry capabilities in high school.
Amber, by the way, I think he spent 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days in the cabin before packing it up. And also it was like the 1700s or something. So enjoy and good luck, I guess.
We will not be making meat in no cabin. I'm going to tell you what you should do. You have to get to the point, especially if you're sort of like the brains behind the machine that you've made.
None of that here.
You just have to. you have to outsource just like the most, I don't want to call them menial tasks, but I really had to learn, especially when I got pregnant. I was like, I have to teach you how to edit. Like, and because I used to be like, nope, I want to do all the editing and all the music and all the subtitles and I want to do the content calendar. And I just like physically would lay in bed and be like, I can't do it. Like I have to, I need rest. And so when my back was up against the wall and Ben was constantly like, let me help you. And I'm like, just kind of this creator, like this mad scientist is like, no, these are all of my projects and stuff. And it just, the minute I let him help me, it just has sustained us. And so if there's any task, like a task is like backlogging all of my old videos. So every time I make a piece of content, I post them on 5 platforms, right? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat. So...
Oh, and Threads.
And Threads now too, I guess 6. So anything that needs to just an old video that needs to be backlogged, I don't have to do that. Like I'm now basically training like our nanny to be my assistant. And which is so funny because we told her when we first brought her on, we're like, hey, we'd love if you could just help us out for 20 hours a week. And then soon Wild's going to start daycare. And like, we just want to be honest with you about when she starts daycare, you might not have a job anymore. And she's been busier now that daycare started because I'm kind of like, can you just return these packages? Can you ship out t-shirt merch to people? Can you backlog all of these?
She's like helped you pick out outfits too. She's like a younger, like creative, here in LA, and sort of just like, it's been really cool to like surrounding ourselves with people who can support us in that. And like,
there was this thing on Facebook. I'm spilling my own tea right now. There's this like milestone on Facebook where like, if you responded to 50 comments, you get the next level of this achievement. And I was like, I do not have time to respond to 50, because I'm not a big in my comment section person. I was like, I do not have time to respond to 50 comments. Ben is doing our taxes. He doesn't have time to do it. And so as I was like doing my child's hair, I was like, can you get your computer and I was like, I'm going to give you 10 phrases that I would probably respond to somebody. And can you just figure out what's appropriate? Y'all so funny. That's the first one. Y'all crazy.
You're like a doll with a string with like, now with 10 catchphrases. That's also merch. You should start selling
10
that.
Amber catchphrases, like, this is hilarious. Just something where I'm just like, that is such a small task that drives my engagement that somebody else could do.
Some people use AI. We use our nanny. So
yeah, and she literally like wrote them down in a document of like. Just some little tasks. But I would say like the best way to manage it was like anything that you don't have to touch, somebody else should be doing. Like lights, mics, something.
Taking a dump. If I could outsource that, I'd love to. Actually, that's the only quiet time I get. And I've got IBS, so that's at least a couple hours a day.
The Shawshank Redemption. You know how he like takes out there
crawls through it,
magic where someone takes out your shit and then gets rid of it. That'd be cool.
I would love that. Thank you. Yes, please.
That'd be cool. They say, okay.
Also,
they gonna have to fix this in post. You create.
No. This is all getting left in. I don't have time to edit, right? Nannies out there that are like, oh, this kid's gonna go to school at some point. Learn Final Cut, learn Premiere, learn DaVinci.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
She loves it. I mean, because we live in LA. She's not a nanny. She's a model / actor / rapper. Like. She actually loves, well, not me speaking for her, but she when we hang out, and again, she probably feels differently. It's like, I'm like her boss. So she's like, yeah, we're hanging out. We're family. But she likes coming over here because she's like, this is like a master class for me because she's starting a podcast now. Yeah. And I'll just give her like tons of just like insider tips and tricks, things that took me years to learn. So she really doesn't like, I see it more so as like mentorship. Like this is almost like a paid mentorship in a way. If I'm teaching you how to like set up your own merch store and you currently have a podcast, in 2 or 3 years, you're probably gonna be selling merch for your pod, and now you already know how to do that task. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure every boss is like, I'm teaching my team. This is Michael Scott.
It's experience.
I'm doing this for y'all, for your future skills.
Okay, we're talking about Wild. And the fact that you documented your entire pregnancy and that journey. Let's talk about any fears that you had coming into that and like sharing that journey. And like you spoke about if she ever says, I don't want to be documented again, you're okay with not doing that. Like, can you share a little bit about?
I mean, we can get an extra in here that can look the part. No. It's so funny because I'm such an oversharer. I've always shared my life like before, like even before we started dating, I was still like vlogging and doing some things. And
you're doing Snapchat.
I was always vlogging something.
I remember one time I played the violin, and one time I was like playing the violin to the baby, and you like put it on Snapchat. And one of our friends who did like was a really good comedian was like, you need to like post this somewhere where it lives. This was maybe like, I don't know, when the baby wasn't as problematic, maybe like 10 years ago. Like 6, I don't know, 8 years ago.
Sure.
Do you remember that? Yeah, but anyway.
I mean, we made some.
But you were like, you were doing things on Snapchat all the time, yeah. So oversharing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I really just thought, I was like, oh, just, vlog the whole pregnancy too. Why not? And then, like,
here comes the afterbirth. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, afterbirth happens, and you're like, oh, I can't vlog this part. Like,
you should sell if you like next time, maybe sell like the placenta.
Right.
Like the merch, like capsules, like dry it out and sell capsules or something.
Yeah. I'm from a yoga background. Do you know how many girls ask me for that placenta? Many girls ask me if they could buy that placenta. No, I think, and then, I had my baby, and I'm sure y'all did too, during sort of like pandemic madness as well. So I was like, I think doctors are probably going to study these placentas in the lab somewhere. But yeah, I just still thought I could like, I even, similar to you, I even filmed a documentary during the pregnancy that vlogged the whole journey. And I remember thinking, I was like, this is the last time I'm going to make a documentary where I'm the subject of it. Or this is the last time I'm going to, like, I would definitely say in the next 3 to 4 years, like I'm working on a pilot right now, I will not be in it. I want to sort of take myself out of it because it's very hard to direct and be talent or direct and be actor. And, you know, if I do have another child, I'll probably like just learn how to like close my laptop and breathe and rest. But
you were going to say legs for a second.
I thought that's where that was going.
I was just as excited as everybody else. And then when I had her, I was like, I need to lie down. Like, I need to be horizontal and stop trying to like record it as I'm actually going through it.
You need to like recharge sometimes, and it's difficult because like you need to, they would say this all the time in radio, like you need to live a life that's worth sharing, right? And then it becomes, well, you're living to share, right? But there have to be like personal moments sometimes. There have to be those moments that are just for you. And like also everything is content, and this is a job, and like I get that. And we truly have won the lottery of lotteries. Everybody wants to be able to do this, and it's a difficult job, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it is aspirational and it's a lot of fun, and it sure beats the hell out of breaking rocks every day. That having been said, because most of us are self-employed doing this, right? Unless you're working for some big content farm or for one of these content houses or whatever, it can be difficult, and I find myself falling victim to myself, I guess. You're working like 80-hour weeks sometimes. And it's like, I have nothing fresh to give. I need to have an original experience so that I can even talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the camera's been helping with that. Or also just sometimes we have to get very intentional. You know, Ben, we're like, we will not film our date tonight. Because it's so easy to be like, Ben, let's go on a date so we can shoot it. And you're like, did I just hear myself?
And right off the bill, right?
Yeah, I think Amber's really bad at what you're describing, where she'll just no, you're terrible. Like you'll just sit in the house all day and be like, I have to work. It's like your job is living. That's your job.
Everybody
your job
knows
is to live.
I don't be sitting in the house all day.
You sit in the house a lot of the day, like just
we went on a hike this morning.
We did, and I planned that. I said we.
Nobody's surprised that you planned that.
If somebody looked at a picture of this and they were like, could you guess for $1 million which one of these? You wouldn't even finish the question, and then they would be like, the second whitest man in this conversation. Yeah, yes. That one.
Like I will agree that Ben has to push me more to like get out of the home because I do like being at home. I like this space that we're creating, but I definitely would not say I just be laid up in here, especially recently. I've been hitting the mics.
I made her go out and go see Alien Romulus.
Fun.
So we did that yesterday, and it was like we just had a whole fun. And I got like xenomorph churros with like this like green goo, and just like did like, and we filmed it. Obviously, we filmed it, but it gave us something else to talk about. And I think like for us, that was we sort of found ourselves not making like this original. We had like people think of like, oh, this is OG Ben and Amber content, which is hilarious. Like this idea that there was like a total
before
shift
time
once we had the baby. Say that one more time.
Like the prologue, right? The before times.
Yeah. Which is like,
I don't know if it shifted that much.
It had. Well, the thing is, we used to be a little bit more like confrontational and like sassy to each other. But now with Wild, like I can't, like Amber can't like tell me to go step my pussy up and call me a little bitch in front of our daughter,
right?
Like which is what she used to do.
Just spell it, right? You got a couple of years until they learn how to spell, so it takes a lot longer, but.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't spell as quickly.
We went to broadcasting school. We can't spell at all.
Podcasting school is crazy. I can't. That's like a thing now.
That's good. They should have that.
The guy who does Imaginary Worlds, which is one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's like NPR meets like nerddom.
So but NPR,
yeah. I mean, it's incredible the fact like you can see the high production quality compared to like. When we were doing our podcast, like we could have used a podcasting school for sure.
Definitely. I would also say sometimes like there's a little bit of like you have to be kind of a narcissist to be a creator because you're constantly talking about yourself. You don't even mean to. You're just constantly talking about yourself. And sometimes you just need that reminder, maybe from friends or family, that nobody really cares that much about you.
Yeah.
And if you took a week off from posting, nobody would really notice. Like the phone is kind of like a slot machine. Or even when, we wrapped our podcast in May, because it was just too much. I was like, Ben, I want to be a comedian. You want to be a writer. Like, we gotta just stop this. Like, I think we're doing this because we feel like everybody's doing it, so we should do it too. And it was getting more expensive. And I remember thinking like, the streets are gonna be devastated. And then everybody was like, oh, well, whatever makes y'all happy. And I was like, no, you girls aren't so sad that we're not gonna be touring anymore. They're like, nope, we're good.
Your Kleenex bill must be through the roof. This is so painful for you. I'm sorry for committing this tragedy.
Like, nobody has, well, because we have so many, like, if you are really heartbroken, you have to tell me that you have listened to like 250 plus episodes of nuts. All of this. Like, you have so much of it to binge. It's like when Breaking Bad ends, it's like you can still just go binge it. Like, that is okay.
But and for us, we just wanted the production value. And the payoff wasn't like we could do the same thing and go travel to like Rome. Like we made this, we were in Rome and we were making like travel vlog content and just having more fun doing that.
Yeah.
Than,
and
like,
we were like, we gotta go back we were like, we gotta fly back early to shoot the pod. And we were like, wait, full stop. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're cutting our Rome trip short to go back and record a podcast that 3,000 people are about to go listen to. Like, no. We're gonna go live our life and sip our wine.
Yeah, I think it was just, and you are a really great stand-up comedian. And it's like you only have so much time, and we started to discover like when you spend intentional time with each other, with your extended family, and then with your child, and then with we have a dog we have to walk, which is like, great. I can't wait till he dies.
Yeah. You could hasten that process if you really tried. Right?
You get us, Kolter.
For legal reasons, that is a joke.
Yeah, I did read Old Yeller. I know how it's done.
It's funny. Amber actually texted me just now. And she said, the secret to our success is actually Alaska rhodiola.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can take an influencer and claim that they have promoted this product.
I'm certainly not going to give her any money. So for legal reasons, that's a joke. I'm also a creator, and if you want to be a creator of great things in general, of great vibes, of great relationships, Alaska Rhodiola, do you know? You want to improve your mental clarity. You want to improve your endurance. You want to improve, we've talked about
for sure.
ADHD,
Oof.
You want to, they've done studies on this. It can help you with all of these, with clarity, with getting stuff done. I don't know if that was a scientific test. If they were like, we're testing getting stuff done. But I take this and I get a lot of stuff done. So
here's a real question.
Okay.
Are you ready to be great, sis?
Oh my God.
Are you ready to really experience your full potential?
You can't, because my man's already taken, and he's taken Alaska Rhodiola.
That was good. But leave him. Alaska Rhodiola. AKRoseroot.com. Play 15 at checkout. 15% off.
It's an Alaska company. We're both like, do we keep holding it? No, hold it. It's fine. It's an Alaska-based company.
Alaska.
Family-owned, woman-owned.
Doctor run. And she's a pilot. Medically backed. Not just this woo-woo science, y'all. Medical science.
FDA approved.
Ooh, yeah?
What?
I mean, yeah. Ooh. Ooh, yeah.
AKRoseroot.com. Amber and Ben take this. I'm kidding. I don't know if they do or not, but it's just funny. That's a joke. That's just a joke. That's for you and me.
Ooh.
Leave him, sis.
Well, y'all are Canadian, so y'all don't have shotguns in Canada, right?
That's not true. We have incest here too. Okay.
Incest.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
One typically begets the other. Yeah.
Yes.
You lose a couple chromosomes along the way, but you get a shotgun, which is nice.
Just a few chromosomes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lose a chromosome, gain a gun. Is that like the thing?
Yeah.
That's
like our buyback program here for guns. Like if you turn in your gun, they give you one of your missing like pieces of DNA. They're like, here you go. And they're like, DNA, that's a long word. And they're like, don't worry about it.
That's a long word.
I have been thinking about Canada's gun laws because, we just had another mass shooting here, surprise, sort of near, Amber, change of comment, near Amber's home. Your mom worked for that school at one point, right?
Or like new teachers at least.
Or new teachers at there. And I'm just like baffled. I was reading about the laws, like, it's almost comical because the cops had showed up to this kid's house a year ago. And the dad was like, oh, I have guns, but they're locked up. And I'm like, your kid just threatened to shoot up a school? And he's like, I have a key. I'm like, Amber steals my keys all the time. Heck, my 2-year-old steals my keys all the time. And this idea, the laws state that you can have guns in the home if they are properly secured. And properly secured just means they need to be locked in a cabinet. Right. If there's kids, like your gun, if you have kids and your gun, you can have guns, they just need to be locked up. And that's insane to me. There's like an insanity. So I was like looking at different, comparable states and how their gun laws compare, especially if you have kids in the home and stuff. It's baffling to me.
So yes, making content is difficult, but we do it.
But thoughts and prayers, everybody, okay? I had to edit a lot this week.
I'm sorry.
We shoot up the internet with our content.
Jesus Christ. Do not laugh. Do not laugh at this.
I never know how to pivot when you go on your rants. I'm like,
no, just lean into it. Like we've been to Atlanta twice this year, and then I was in Alaska, and like it's no less jarring every time.
Yeah.
Like I even get jarred here when I see like a cop, and I'm like, a gun. Oh my God, that's like that's shocking to me because I'm a little beta, and when we were stateside, like just the holsters, I'm like,
or seeing a store that says like guns and liquor, and it's like, really, that's what you sell here?
Yeah.
Like it's jarring.
You're doing the Lord's work.
We were in Salt Lake City and at a playground, and a dad like came in like strapped on. He had like his gun at the playground. I was like. And
he's like, what if I find a fourth testament, right? That's a Mormonism joke.
That's actually
technically that is a Mormon joke. Yep.
That is a good Mormon. Yo, Salt Lake City is a great vacation place if y'all have kids. Like when you need break from some sort of social media and you want to see some more insanity, but also great hiking, y'all should go and visit Salt Lake City. And there's like the best playgrounds there. It's a really dope spot. And so my sister works there, who's not Mormon, and she's very anti-Mormon, but it's like she went to school there, and she's a nurse there, and so it's a great space for them. I always like visiting Salt Lake City, so I do recommend it.
Also, Utah, the pyramid scheme capital of the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It sounds like it's getting better and better. That's what we need to. That's truly the collab that I'm looking for, is for us to create a new pyramid scheme. You hear about scams all the time, and like it's awful, people ripping off grandparents and stuff. And I'm like, imagine coming up with a really good scam though, or like a new religion. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a legacy.
When scammers start paying content creators to like push more scams, like it's pretty much over because they pay well. They probably pay on time. I mean,
you've got a good downline, right? Primerica's sending them checks in, right? Herbalife, Amway.
We've all seen TikTok Shop. I'm like, yo, they've got their claws into these creators.
It's so funny. My dad fell into one of those Utah scams called Zango Juice. It's made out of Zangosteen, and they said it like made you live longer, and was built off by this Mormon in Utah. And my dad, they were like $80 a bottle, right? They're like this big. It's called Zango Juice. New York Times did a whole bit of it. And so I grew up being like, Dad, what, like, you're not getting younger drinking this. And like, yeah, so. But,
and it's actually giving you gout, weirdly enough.
Right.
It's not even meat.
They're getting so large.
And now you got syphilis in your eye. Correct.
No, so like you buy it, it's like you spend like $80 for them, and then you have to sell them, and then you get
Did it at least taste good?
It did.
Okay, see, that's see, you're getting something from it.
Cranberry juice, honestly. Now that I think about it, Zango Juice. I'm not even joking. Great example of the Mormon like pyramid scheme.
Ironically, he's actually really selling me on this.
Right?
I'm like,
let's talk
sounds kind of refreshing, yeah. Is your dad looking to recruit anybody? Because like I got some time.
No, I think my mom was like, "What are you doing, Gary? Stop."
Yeah.
I gotta ask this question before we move into Mailbox, because as content creators who are also in an interracial relationship,
ew,
right?
Gross.
Gotta ask about that.
Hate watching that on the internet when strangers do it.
We know the internet can either love that too much or absolutely hate that. So what has your experience been?
I would say it always takes you a while to find your audience of people. And I mean, I've seen some interracial content creators be very cringy too. I think the internet just really appreciates an odd couple. Like we like that in many movies, whether it's like racially or if it's like these people are different sizes or this, person from this tax bracket is dating this person from that tax bracket. Like, so I think the internet in that way just provides like another reality TV show or even just like personality wise. Like, cause some people all the time, they're like, I don't really like interracial couples, but I like that you're dramatic and he's a little bit more
it's like
unhinged.
Pretty woman type of situation.
Yeah.
Amber, you're Richard Gere in this situation, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'm Julia
I thought
Roberts.
I saw a hamster in the background.
Yes.
A very current topical joke. Yeah. People love that.
I mean, so for me, I just feel like when you show up as your full entertaining self, the internet will reward you for that. I'm not sitting here trying to say like, but we're in a post-racial world. Nobody cares that I'm black and Ben is white. Like for sure in the early days, I was getting every kind of like, she's so loud, she's so bitter, she's a sellout. It was mostly heat on my end. You were the cool kid.
Yeah,
me.
that's sort of the trend, right? If you are a white dude dating a black woman, you're seen as open-minded. If you're a black woman dating a white man, you hate your race. Right?
Race
That's
traitor.
sort of
Race traitor. How dare you?
Right.
The other interesting thing is sometimes Amber will make a joke that, like, we live in this weird, like, cancel culture, right? Where Amber will, one time, Twitter hated this. Amber posted something on Twitter. She made a joke.
I don't even have Twitter. Somebody else posted it.
And it got like and people got very, very offended. And essentially the joke went where I was like, I can't wait to have children so that I don't have to work, right? As a bit, right? And Amber's like, so you tell me that you want mixed race children so that you don't have to work. That sounds historically familiar. Right? And then she
yeah, it was like the medicine and the candy.
Yeah.
And people were like, I don't even recall who they were mad at, you or me.
They were mad at you for making a joke referencing slavery. Right?
Oh, yeah.
But that's sort of the thing is that whenever you date, an interracial relationship, there is a historical where, white men, their slaves, had the children, made them be slaves, right? And so that's where the basis of that history. And then I was just thinking of like, no, parents have kids and they want to
exploit them.
Have to do their chores, right?
It's not racist. It's just child exploitation. There's a difference.
Exploitation, right? It's childism.
Right.
Yeah.
It's childism, not racism.
100%.
So, but we're playing, and I think like we both knew what we were doing. We were like playing.
Of course.
So we're playing with this a little bit, but we're basing this on a misunderstanding. And I think people get really, really offended on that. Occasionally, I'll like quote Amber, and it sounds like I'm slipping into Ebonics. But really, I'm just slipping into Amberism, and people are like, why is he, doing a black accent? And I was like, oh, and so sometimes people will like miss those kinds of jokes that we'll do.
So like I'm imitating my wife.
I'm imitating my wife, but it also sounds.
I mean, if it's ever sounded very cringy, I don't think I've seen it. But I do. I think about it like this, like. Because I did stage and theater stuff before, like I was somebody who was like working at a comedy club, and then I got laid off during the pandemic, and then I was like, well, I guess I'll like full-time start making content and videos. So truly in my mind, the comment section, which is amazing sometimes, right? They make their own fanfic. They're great, and you need them. But the comment section for me is like I'm on stage with a microphone, and you're the audience.
Right.
So I don't. So in my brain in the theater, I would never get off of the stage and start arguing with y'all. Maybe I'd do a little crowd work, but this is still my show.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that dynamic changes when people are, went to school for this, want to practice and be in this work, be in an entertainment space versus like that content creator who went viral because like people think she stole a wedding dress or something. And that's a little bit different because then you feel pressure to like respond to every comment. Go with those
the
videos.
accidental viral nature,
viral girls.
Like those people can't handle that. We're sort of we took improv classes before we got married as a form of like we took actual marital counseling. Yeah, but I would recommend anybody who's in a serious relationship do an improv class. I cannot.
He was gonna say see a therapist. I'm like, oh, we have a therapist we see together, and also like we have individual therapists. And you're like, no, you don't need therapy. You need to take a second city class.
Take an improv or take stand up together. Like do like some sort of comedy or a storytelling, because you end up learning a lot about the other person. Like even just like Amber, you hear stories because you're in a different setting, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about you.
Or there's totally a world where a joke that I wrote or a sketch or a video that we put up, it bombed. Like,
sure.
So it's like
a lot.
No. You're doing great. Everything's perfect.
like
Ignore
I made a video, people didn't laugh or people didn't get the joke or the tone. It bombed. I'm not gonna go back and forth in the comments. I'm just gonna be like, what about like the music or the sound cue or like the dialogue that they miss here? So the next time I can do it better. But that's kind of how I, it's all just like a writer's workshop for me. Of course, I'm not going to act like a comment that somebody's left has never hurt my feelings. But for the most part now, I kind of like post and get out of there. Like, because I'm like, y'all the audience, I would never come off the stage and go to the lobby and be like, so y'all didn't like the show? I'm just going to I'm just doing the next show. Like the next group of people are coming in.
We're busy, you know?
I love that. I love that approach. That's my biggest fear, that like I feel like I need to respond to every single question, commentary about my child, about my husband, about my it's just too much. So I love that. Like I'm
Post and ghost.
Yeah.
You are the Mona Lisa. She would never jump off the wall to talk to people and be like, oh, you don't like the most beautiful piece of art you've ever seen? Like, no.
Is it really though? Because like I've had a Brazzers subscription in the past, and I would say like pound for pound, that has given me, I would say, especially with some of the bigger girls, I'd say that's given me more entertainment over the years. The Mona Lisa's cracked and fading, right? They also have a category for that on Brazzers, but...
Okay, we're going to get into Mailbox. This is when we answer listener questions. You can send your questions in at playinghousepod.com. So we have our first question is, what inspires you to create content together?
New experiences. Like force the other person, like in this case, Amber forces me to go to Black church. I force her to go hiking. Like doing that stuff, you are going to just...
We've been playing like video games together.
At Black church? The Black church you took me to did not have video games.
Video games. Absolutely not.
Oh.
God damn it.
Video games at Black churches will save your marriage. I want to get to the business of content creating. Like, a content calendar is so helpful, like to just write down like what are the 5 things that make up Amber. Like the content calendar is kind of driven by me because we have
things that you like to do anyway.
Yes, we have separate pages. I know people think it's like a one family page, but we have our own pages. And so I'll just sit there and be like, every week I'm gonna sing to my plants. I'm always going to try to give you like somebody needs to be in a wig somebody in my brain needs to be in a wig at some point of the week. And then maybe a family video or maybe a just you and I video or maybe Ben cooked that night and then it's either going to be amazing or it needs some help. So like, I don't know. I feel like we're never running out of things to do because we're always either traveling or like there's something like I could have a conversation with that trash can right there. I could interview that trash can about life of sitting still, whatever. So I just feel like there's always something being stoic and poised and demure. There's always something that is happening around the house or in LA or something. Because I'm a big person and you're like this too. We mostly just make our own content. Like I know some people's content is a little bit driven by like reactions to other people's, I know people do that just about us. But for the most part, like, I might do something topical every now and then, but we pretty much like mind our business when it comes to the kind of content we make.
Well, getting back to like what inspires you, it's just getting the fuck out of the house. Oh, sorry, can we swear? Sorry, getting out of the house.
You damn 50 minutes in.
Sorry,
you don't have a whole school.
Oh no, he dropped an F-bomb. We should probably just cancel this. Set the computer on fire.
I haven't swear. I've been getting good. Yeah, just get out of the house is a huge inspiration. Go just do something out of the house, like hiking.
He's really pushing hiking today.
The guy's got one speed, and it's slowly up a mountain.
It's so aggressive too. Just like relax. We're gonna donate to the campaign. Just relax.
Do you bring like gels and stuff, like runners? Like, do you bring like the marathon runners? They have like the gels to give you energy and stuff.
I got a Philadelphia marathon coming up at the end of November. Mostly, So I use a lot of like gummies and gels. I will. I have my running group. It's so great. But yeah, I'm trying to get Amber to join our running group. That would be a great inspiration.
Now, why would I do something like that?
It's literally 3 miles. It's so great. Oh my gosh, you would do so great. That would be so funny, her response. Or like a lot of comments.
This is real-time workshopping, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the writer's room right now.
9-hour hike. It's never enough.
This inspires us right now. Talking with different couples.
I think he's trying to get into my pants
like
too.
to
I like this. Yeah, we saw you from across the webcam.
Y'all run with them. I'll be at the house with the kids. I'll keep the kids.
I want to do neither. Go running, take our child. Let me just chill.
You want to read the next one?
Yeah, when you speaking of content strategies, like when you disagree over something, does someone have like final veto? Like I know you've got, your individual channels, but is there ever something where you're like, if one of us feels uncomfortable, like it's a hard no, do you have to come to a consensus?
Yeah, Amber controls all of that. Like,
well,
even today, she was like, I don't want that. Like, or yesterday I made a video and she was actually annoyed in the video. And she's like, I was like, but it was funny. You're laughing at it now. She's like, no, I just don't want that in there. Like, I was actually annoyed at you and I didn't want the camera in my face.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like Amber honestly has the final say on everything.
Yeah. Most stuff gets passed through if we're being pretty honest.
It's very rare. Yeah.
I will have, I recently made a rule about something, and I know this is going to be like, duh, this should obviously be a rule, but I have made a rule like henceforth that anytime Wild is crying or in pain, it will not be filmed.
Actually,
because now that she's not like, when she was a baby, it's funny. It's like, y'all hear my baby crying in the back, like, but now I don't know. You just see so many creators being like, tell us about your first period. And I'm like, this is not okay. And I feel like that stuff can be a slippery slope so quickly where this mom is just trying to show like, I'm comforting my daughter and making her feel comfortable. But it's like, no, this is someone's like intimate thing. So even though she's only 2, I was like, Ben, I don't care what's going on. If she is crying, I don't want it on camera at all. And I mean, and it'll be like, sometimes she's fake crying to get us to stop doing something. But I don't even want a cry in the back of what we're actually doing. So I think you edited something recently that kind of didn't even have anything to do with her, but because she was crying in the back, I was like, scrap it. Either scrap it or put some music under it.
Yeah.
And he was like, it wasn't even about her. This is like, this thing you said was so funny. And I was like, I can reshoot. I just don't want my child's pain to be literally earning dollars on the internet. Yeah. So that's a hard, fast rule I've made. And then, and we're very good now about like, hey, me and you are gonna go to a bar tonight and we're not filming this. Like, it's just me and you. But for the most part, everything works. If something doesn't work, like I had a stand-up clip the other day that you were like, this just isn't your best. It wasn't bad, but he was like, I just know you're funnier than this. I just don't think this is your best clip. And so I was like, you know what?
It hurt your feelings a little bit.
But I didn't post it. And now that I'm out of my feelings about it, I'm so grateful that I didn't post it. Yeah.
And it was interesting because later Amber got advice from like an actual professional comedian who was like, don't post everything. Literally was like,
keep some gas in the tank. Couple arrows in the quiver, Yeah,
but just like, because you don't know what rules you have for your content until it starts. Like,
and you're like, ooh, I don't like
and that. Now it's like as a baby, it was okay. She puked everywhere. Like, who cares? But now she's like, no, my stomach hurts. Like, I'm about to puke. Like, like that shouldn't be filmed. So that's been a new. I know in my brain it's like, well, duh. But something about this toddler stage, I'm being a little bit more careful about things. I think.
You see a lot of people in like that, that's all their content. And this is not a judgment thing. Like that just, first off, even from a selfish point of view, a kid's a lot to wrangle, right?
Hell yeah.
Like if our daughter like wants, not that she's going to say, hey, daddy, can we create some content today? if it's something like, hey, this might be a cute idea. Like I had this thing, it was podcast with a 3-year-old. And so she just sat down for 15 minutes or whatever until she was bored with it. And then I just got her to say a bunch of things and like in conversation. And then I wrote prompts for that. And then we edited it so that we filmed her reactions first. And then it was cute. They were 8-9 seconds. She's clearly having a good time. You see a lot of people, and like that's all they do, right? And like they're cashing checks, right?
There's big money in child creators, but I know like for me it's not that. For me it's like I want to be an actor, I want to be a stand-up comedian, which is so funny because even as a baby, people are like, the baby's so funny, and I'm like, the baby, she's 3 months. Who do you think wrote the script for this? Like she did something and I backwards planned it, but that is the sort of like I could already tell. I was like, oh, people have already said like make her own page and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Every time I read about a child actor when they're grown up, I just read an article about Christina Ricci where she talks about being a child actress. And now her opinion is like forcing your child to act is child abuse is something that she says in the article, which is like, that's an extreme. I don't think that's a case, but this is someone who actually went through that. Right. Yeah. And if they left that with this experience, maybe we should actually listen. Maybe these are the kinds of people we should hear out. I think, I'm not, and, I can listen to someone and not agree with everything that they say. I'm still going to listen to them. That's a rarity, I think, more and more as we continue to be polarized. But I think she made some good points in this article. And that sort of made me be a little bit hesitant on certain things with our kid.
I definitely think the older Wild gets, the more people are gonna watch a fall off happen, because it's like even now that she's in daycare, I'm like, oh, she's not even here, so we can kind of get back to the old stuff because it really didn't start as that. It just started where I would have a take about something and then she'd walk through the back of the video. Yeah. So I was like, yo, and then all the comments would be like, the baby's so cute. And you're like, what baby? I was like, oh my gosh, she walked through it. And so now I do some fun toddler hairstyles. And then I have this series where I make up, not makeup, but I have these grievances that she files as a toddler, but I can really even sort of do that series without her. Yeah. True. Yeah. And you can I actually follow quite a few parenting pages where I never see their kid, and it's just the tips and what's going on, or come pack my kid's lunch with me, and the kid's never on camera, so you can kind of do family content without the actual child showing up. And we'll probably eventually switch, especially when she's 4 or 5. How old is y'all's daughter? 3?
4.5. Yeah.
4.5. She drives that into us. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah, so you can have so many funny parenting videos right now without her.
Well, that my original the videos that really popped off and it was my 3rd or 4th TikTok video, and I would just because working in radio, they're content, you just need to make videos as well. That's another thing you have to do for free. And so I'm like, well, I'm already doing it, and so whatever. I think this is funny, I'll post it. And then the 3rd video I posted got 10 million views or something, and it was reasons my toddler threw a tantrum. And it's just me with the dark screen, the dark mode version of the Notes app behind me with I'm just writing 3 things that maybe she said, maybe she didn't, I don't know. And then me responding to them. And she's not in any of those videos, right?
She's not. No. And it's relatable, and people because parents are going through it. But it's kind of funny because Wild actually likes being on camera sometimes. I'll start to record and she'll be like, me too. But she is kind of getting to the point now where she'll be like, no phones, Dad. Even if you're not recording something, she'll be like, phones away, phones away. And so every time she says that too, we are like, oh, we got to put this away. So I think as she grows up more and is becoming more vocal, the streets are going to just see less of her. And I'm fine with that. I'm here. These new kids, they know boundaries. Oh my gosh. She held a boundary against me the other day. I was like, I'm just putting you in the car seat. She's like, that's a boundary. I was like, it's not a boundary.
You're like, fine, you can drive. Jesus.
Jesus. Yes.
Does she know the boundary song?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please stop. I don't like that. That's
no, this is giving me PTSD.
Okay, final question. What is the weirdest part about creating content together? Has it made you closer as a couple?
The weirdest part?
The weirdest part is recording something when the other person is actually upset. Because I sometimes I'll be actually annoyed if I'll use a video game example where Wild turned off my video game. I forgot to save. I was playing Jedi Survivor, and like there's like a weird bug in the game where saving doesn't happen. I was like annoyed, and so maybe like Amber might want to record that, but I'm like annoyed, but I also know this is really good content. So
Oh my God. The video that was never made was one time we were Ben was driving and I was pregnant, and he, for whatever reason, going into our garage, he just like hit the mirror, like, you know, the car mirror on the side, just went like right into the garage.
Right. We got this car a week ago. We just got this car.
One weekend, this mirror is dangling like a tooth.
It was like, we gotta record
and I
this.
was like,
I'm so embarrassed.
I was like, Ben, I gotta get this. And then you backed into a pole after that. And I was like, Ben, I gotta get this. Like, I can see somebody sending us a new Honda CRV. I can see it. Like, I gotta get this. And he's just like, no. Like, he's like, how could you think of this? Like, I'm gonna be a horrible father. And I'm like, oh my God, Ben, it's a mirror.
You're like, yes, but we still want a free car.
Yes. I will be on terrible.
Because I was already seeing the views,
and now I regret actually not filming that.
No, I mean, the minute you said I do not want this filmed, I was like, oh, what's up then?
You're like, what a cock.
And now he's every now and then he's like, did you at least secretly film it? I was like, nope. You said you didn't want it.
That can get weird.
Yeah. What was the weirdest part?
What was the second part of the question?
Has it made you closer as a couple?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Let the scripts and the content tell it. I hate you. But like, Ben is such a good, people don't, it's so funny because like some of our most viral videos where people think I'm being the meanie, I'm like, Ben edited that. Mm-hmm. That was Ben's edit. Like, it was a director's cut. So I don't know. Like we're co-writers and co-directors at this point, even though like this sort of started with me, and I think I brought you on board too. Like sometimes I would be vlogging in my room and you're like, what are you doing? And then it started paying a little bit. He's like, okay, you know what? She might be on to something. I definitely think, and it forces us to spend time together. So
yeah, I mean, also I would still be a teacher. I have a master's in teaching. I would still be a teacher now. I'd still be working like 60 hours a week, like out of the, I was running after school programs. I would not be around Amber and Wild in the same way. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that content creation, as y'all alluded to, it is a privilege. It is awesome.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that I get to work from home has automatically brought us closer together. Mm-hmm. And also just figuring out how to do things together. Be like, I disagree on this creative decision.
Yep.
Let's problem solve. Or
we're good about like a morning meeting.
A morning meeting, or like, hey, we're gonna do a brand deal. Like, how are we going to do this brand deal? Like, even going through negotiations or working with other people just forces us to confront things in a way that if we were both going to our jobs and coming back, we wouldn't have to, Right. So I feel like we've probably spent more time together in like the past 3 years than most couples do their entire lives, to be honest with you.
Are you looking at me longingly? Is this a sad look? What is
Look
this?
at him like, it's so true.
Like,
so much
God.
Of you.
Because we don't go to other jobs every day. Yeah. We're way closer now than when we had.
Can I just say, I love those videos, those like Nara videos that they're the funniest shit ever.
I wrote those ones.
Those are all Dominique. That's all Dominique's writing.
Funny. Like you get her
voice
over there. Yeah. You get her voice so done.
Thank you.
So
trying to get them
like
paychecks.
Period.
Trying to get them Nara Smith paychecks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure she's over there snapping fingers to a whole crew.
I'm sure she is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I woke up feeling, doing this. It's like, no, you have a nanny.
Yeah.
You haven't cleaned anything.
So do you. I'm the nanny here.
Yeah. Good for her though.
No. I'm not hating. One thing I liked about your videos is that it shows the absurdity of that kind of trad wife. And in a more serious kind of the absurdity of trad wives, bending over backwards and doing all these things. And that whole like handmaiden kind of material. When in reality, that's not the case. Like people don't make homemade cereal every day. Like she posts.
Well, they can if that's all they have to do that day.
Yeah, I mean that's all they have to do. Or the fact, it's just it makes it seem that this is an expectation. Like you're supposed to wear designer clothing and do this is crazy to me.
Meanwhile, you're like door dashing in Fashion Nova. Like that's the real, and that's this house, and I like that. So
I mean, I like to watch dystopian stuff, so I can watch it for like, I mean,
like the RNC.
I I'll watch wig tutorials all day. I don't wear wigs. Like, so when it comes to the Nara Smith, I'm like, I will watch her all day and never make a meal. Like, she's not inspired. It's just, for me, it's just like, how long can she keep this game up? Like,
I guess, no. My problem is that people will look at these videos and see like this as the expectation of a good wife.
Yeah.
And that's what you're parroting. That's
what, Ben? One who only talks for 45 seconds at a time? What an asshole.
I say it all the time. I love Nara. I think she's dope. If that works for her household, whatever she's doing, dope. It's just saying, not in my house. We're not doing that. If you wake up and tell me your cravings, it's because you have deeper issues and we need to acknowledge that. Like, no, don't.
Right.
Don't.
I feel like we're creators. We're creators, so I can appreciate. I'm like, I look at her. I'm like, this is a consistent aesthetic.
Exactly.
You're looking at her as a creator. I'm talking about.
Yeah, other people are looking like, I need to wake up.
The manosphere looks at her videos and sees her as this is the norm.
Yeah.
This is supreme.
Yeah.
And that's I think it's like beautiful and it's really stunning to watch her. Like, and I think the creativity, I'm totally down for it.
Yeah,
I don't like what the trad wife represents, and so when people like parody that for me is like subversive. Not only are you using comedy, but you're using comedy as a tool to pinpoint a sort of a trend within like the online spaces that this is like, you know, an expectation of women, and that's where like the comedy and like this, I think for me, it's a form of like social justice in some ways, or social activism, in a fun, creative way. And that's what I really like about those videos, to sort of do a deep dive. Like if I were to like analyze. Or,
I'd love that in writing, actually. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Well, thank y'all so much. This has been incredible. And it is such an honor to have you. I can't, like, all the collaborations that we kept getting comments about, it was like, Ben and Amber. Like, we kept getting that. So to actually have you on the podcast has been incredible. Thank you so much.
And we're moving in next month. Winter is coming. It's pretty rough here. And I did not do chemo to shovel the driveway again.
Yes. So. Oh my God. I would literally use that for everything. Like, I could have sent an email. You know, I had chemo.
I did chemo for this? No.
Poor Dom. She's probably heard that a couple times. Like, you know, I couldn't vacuum today. I had chemo.
No, this is the first time. Act like it's the goddamn first time you heard a joke. Pump me up, dude. Come on. We got some cool people here today.
Move to the States.
Yeah. Oh, if y'all are ever in LA, say less. We have to.
We're gonna see what happens in November before we make any hasty decisions. But
move to the States, get a gun.
They gotta wait till the election.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but at least it's hot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It will be warm.
Gosh. Keep all of this.
Oh, heck. Fiddlesticks.
Golly.
That was great.
They were lovely.
Yeah.
They were absolutely lovely to talk to. You know, I got a little anxious. Don't know if you could tell.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I was a little bit anxious.
No, I'm just kidding. You looked great. You felt great. The vibes were immaculate.
Of course, I looked great. I meant, like, my delivery wasn't there because I was anxious. But, like, they're super dope. They're super dope. Why are you staring and not conversing? For those listening, this is a great experience.
So, hopefully, maybe they'll invite us over to their house. That'd be fun.
To get Wild and Nia playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just meant, like, because it's just, like, nice to have somebody else cook and clean. We do neither of that here.
You want to go to a black woman's house to be taken care of, looked after.
Yeah, that's why I live here with you.
Right. I'm glad you're admitting that to yourself and myself. What now?
You might be looking after, but I'm looking before and after.
Follow this man at Kolter Talks across the internet, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, what have you. Follow him.
I'm not allowed to have Snapchat, though.
Period.
Amber had Snapchat.
If Amber jumped off a bridge,
maybe.
Filmed it, I know.
If it was good content. We'll see. Dom.creates on Instagram at dom.no.creates. Just Dom Creates. I'm making this more complicated.
You really, really are.
@ DOMCREATES. Everywhere else. And you can go to our website and should right now and buy some stuff.
Ooh.
Playinghousepod.com/shop.
If you haven't already, please subscribe. We will be back every Monday. And this is the first episode of episode 3. I don't think we mentioned
Season
that.
3.
Season 3. First episode of
Good
season
Lord.
3. Still can't get it right, but progress. Remember when we were across the desk from each other?
Yeah.
Look how far we've come.
Yeah.
Much further
Literally.
now.
We're like
We was
an extra foot or something.
slowly separating more and more.
Speaking of feet, let's end it there. That's funny. Bye.